Hey, Mark. Thanks for coming in. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
So it's been about a year, right around a year, since we did an Lscmi when you first were released from prison.
Okay.
And I want to take an opportunity today to do a reassessment.
Sure.
So we're going to do an Lscmi reassessment today. And really what that's going to look like is me just asking you a lot of questions about different areas of your life. And the purpose of it is to decide what, if any, risks might be there or needs, and to see where your strengths are. So to begin, where I'd like to start is with your criminal history and exploring that a little bit with you.
Okay.
And as I go through this, please let me know if I'm wrong or if I make some mistakes so we can update things as we go through.
Okay.
All right. So my memory tells me that you were never convicted as a juvenile.
That's correct.
You did get arrested when you were 17 for an MIP, but that didn't result in a conviction.
That's what they told me, yeah.
And then you were arrested for burglary in the second degree as an adult, and you went to prison for that.
Yes, I did.
And currently, you're on supervision for burglary in the second degree as well, and you went to prison on that as well. Both times you went to prison, you never got in any trouble, nothing formal. And the previous time that you were on supervision, you never got in trouble. And since you got on probation this time, or sorry, post-prison supervision this time, you haven't been in any trouble either.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's gone great for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've never escaped from any institution. You've really, when you've been on supervision in the past,
I've never
and most
escaped from
recently,
prison.
things have gone relatively well.
Yeah.
Okay. So Joel, what we're going to talk about next is the area of employment. So tell me a little bit about the job that you're working right now.
Well, I'm still working at the mill, and I love it. It's a great job.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the relationships that you have with people there.
Well, I think they're great. What are you talking about? Like my boss or?
Sure, let's start there. How's your relationship with your boss?
Well, they promoted me, so I'm assuming it's a good relationship. They score well on my reviews. They come in and tell me I'm doing a good job. So.
Wow, that's great. How about the people that you work with on like a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, they're good. They get the job done. I don't have anything to really complain about. If I did, believe me, I would be telling them.
Yeah.
But they're doing their job, so that's fine. Got great communication.
Okay. So things are going really well.
I'd say, yeah.
Okay. So Mark, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at family next.
Sure.
So tell me, let's start with your wife. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with your wife.
Well, we're divorced.
Oh, when did that happen?
10 months ago.
Okay. So how are you with being divorced?
Well, I mean, I'm fantastic with it, or else we wouldn't have got divorced. Our entire relationship was a complete dumpster fire. It was awful.
Okay. So you're much happier now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's better for both of us.
Right. So you moved out of your wife. You guys got divorced. And
Heck
then
yeah.
what? Where'd you go?
Well, I moved in with Mom. So I just needed a place to go, and turned out she needed a little bit of help. So just moved in there, and that's where I've been ever since.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Mom and Dad. How are things going?
So Dad passed away this last year,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
and
that.
yeah, you know, got some cancer, and yeah, didn't make it more than about 6 months.
Okay. So then you moved in with Mom, and how are things going with her, living with her?
Well, it's great. I mean, she needs me there. If I wasn't there, I honestly don't know how she'd get by.
Right.
This is, I take the garbage down, check the mail, stuff like that.
So you do a lot of stuff for your mom. But when two people live together, as you know, with your ex-wife, things can sometimes not be so great.
Not so great?
Yeah, like relationally. So when you think about your relationship with your mom, how would you describe it?
I think it's great. I mean, I help out around the house. Like I said, I do some chores here and there. If I wasn't there, I'm not sure who would do those chores. So I mean,
what kind of things does she do for you?
she'll make me some lunch. She likes to make me a sandwich here and there before work. Sometimes she'll get me up out of bed. She's an early riser, so she'll come in and wake me up and maybe have some breakfast ready every once in a while. And when I get home, I help out with dinner a little bit, help with the dishes, clean the kitchen up. So it works for me, works for us, I think.
Yeah. Well, what about other relationships with family?
What do you mean?
Like, who's in your family that you like to spend time with?
Nobody. Everyone thinks I'm an asshole. I don't need them. I mean, comparatively, I think if you looked at me 2 years ago, I was not a good person. I was legitimately an asshole. And I think based off of that, they kind of said, "Oh, we don't want anything to do with him anymore." But I'm doing a ton better now. I mean, I think if they were to come and talk with me now, they might see a different person. But if that's on them, that's on them. If they don't want to associate with me, that's whatever.
They just haven't taken that step to get to know you again and see what kind of changes you've made.
No.
Okay.
No, and that's absolutely on them. That's 100% on them.
Okay. So the last time that we did an assessment about a year ago, we didn't really touch on any history of criminal convictions in your family. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Criminal convictions in my family?
Yeah. Anybody in your family have any legal history?
Well, I mean, if you want to bring that up, I guess my dad.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Like, got a DUI.
Okay. So tell me about this motorcycle club that you're participating in.
Well, Josh, I'm glad you asked. So we're really kind of in the development stage right now, and we've been kind of talking for a little bit and trying to figure out, really what identifies us as a motorcycle club right now. And really we want to identify as, a group of guys and gals that really like to, be sober and motor around the state.
How often are you doing this?
About once every week or so. We'll do like a poker run for charity or something like that. So it's a lot of fun, if we get together, hang out, get to, give some money away to a nonprofit or a charity or something like that. Usually I pick it because I'm the president, so pick something real good.
Okay.
Just give that money away.
Sometimes when people get together, there's things like drugs and alcohol that get involved. And tell me.
Whoa. No. Sober motors. That's what we're about. We are clean and sober. Now, it may have motorcycle club attached to it. We're not doing that other stuff.
Okay. How about on a typical night when you get off work? Tell me about what that looks like.
What do you mean?
How do you spend your time when you're not riding in the motorcycle club and you're not at work?
Well, Josh, I live to ride for the most part and work, of course, when I have to. But, I like to, just hang out and relax, get ready for the next day. I mean, what's a guy who lives at home with his mom do? I mean, come on.
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Not much. I mean, I work and I ride. That's all I do.
So this next area that I'd like to look at is the people that you spend time with.
Okay.
Those people who aren't family. When I think about people like friends and acquaintances, I think of two different circles.
Okay.
Right? The smaller, more intimate circle would be the friends, those people that you know and that know you. When good things happen, you go to them, and when bad things happen, you go to them, and they do the same for you. And then there's really everybody else that we know. People who maybe we run into and we know by the first name, but they just don't know the intimate details of our lives. I'd like to take a look at the acquaintances, those people that you know. Where do you know people from?
Well, like, you're talking about like work or?
Yeah. The work would be a place.
Well, I know lots of people at work. I run a crew.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about the people that you work with. What kind of histories do they have?
We don't get into that kind of stuff. It's not like I'm running around the mill asking, who's a felon.
Okay. Do you spend any time with them outside of work?
Not really. I mean, there's one guy that I hang out with a little bit, but it's like once every 3 or 4 months or something like that. I mean, he went through the same thing I did with the whole divorce thing, and every once in a while he wants to hang out, but it's not like we're sitting down and saying, "Hey, do you have a felony? Or have you been arrested before? Are you a good guy?"
Okay.
You know.
So sometimes we also spend time with people who are outside of work, right? You have this club that you're a part of. Tell me about the people that you like to spend time with there.
So, there's people in the club that have pasts where they're trying to get away from that kind of stuff. That's why we're, motor and sober. So, really, I'm not running around asking people, how many days clean and sober do you have or something like that. But I know there's guys and gals that are in the club that have struggled with getting arrested or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. About how many people do you think are in that club that have been in trouble?
We got like 40, 50, 60 members now, so maybe 10.
Okay. People that you know that are in the club that have
that I've asked. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not running around checking people, doing background checks on people.
Okay. Do you know other people from anywhere else?
Well, I used to be involved with a different motorcycle club for a period of time.
Okay.
I mean, I run into those guys every once in a while.
Okay. By other motorcycle club, you mean a club that's been involved like in criminal stuff and drug stuff? That was kind of the purpose of that particular club?
Well, those are your words,
okay,
Josh, really.
So tell me about the people that you run into now from those clubs.
I mean, I don't really want to talk about what those people have been into or what they're doing. I mean, are they out there doing stuff? Yeah, I'm sure they are. It was a club that was not clean and sober, and they were probably doing drugs or whatever, or committing crimes. I don't know. I'm not out there asking them, "Hey, you broken the law lately?"
Right, but we can usually kind of guess, right? And our guesses are usually pretty right on.
Sure, I'll go with you on that one.
Yeah. About how many people do you still have contact with from the old club?
Yeah, maybe 4, 5.
Okay. And these are people that have those histories.
I mean, if you're going to pressure me on it and make me say something, then sure, yeah.
Okay. Do you know anybody who hasn't been involved in crime and trouble?
Like, are you talking about my friends or what?
Just people that you know.
I mean, I guess.
Where do you know them from?
I don't know. Maybe from around town. The guy who pumps the gas or the guy who checks my groceries or something like that. But, I mean, I'm only assuming that because they've got a job at a nice place. So, I don't know.
Okay. So you really don't know all that many people that aren't involved in crime or have those histories for sure?
No, not really, no.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about your friends. Who's your best friend?
Well, I'm going to say it's a guy named John.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know John? Tell me about John.
John's a guy that I ride with. We've been friends for a long time. I can talk to him about pretty much anything. So he's a guy that I trust. I could tell him anything.
Okay. What kind of a past does he have?
Well, he's had some run-ins with the law before. Mm-hmm. I mean, he and I were in the club together. So not the Sober Motors Club, the other one.
Okay. So you guys kind of have struggled with the same issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about other friends?
Well, there's Jeff.
Tell me about Jeff.
Same deal. I mean, we went to high school together. He and I have known each other for a long time.
Okay. Tell me about the kind of legal history that he has.
Same thing. I mean, he's had some run-ins with the law. He's been to prison before.
Okay. So for Jeff and John, do you remember when the last time it is that they got in trouble?
Oh, I think John got arrested for like a criminal mischief or something like that, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And Jeff got arrested, I'm going to say, gosh, 9, 10 months ago. I don't know what it was for, but he called me in the middle of the night and said, "Hey, bail me out of jail." I was like, okay. So.
Okay. How about other good friends?
Well, there's Ricky.
Okay. Tell me about Ricky.
Well, what do you? I mean, you want to know like the same stuff, like have they ever been arrested or something
Sure.
like that? Yeah, yeah, he's been arrested. I think Ricky got arrested maybe 2 or 3 months ago or something like that. Yeah, he was doing he was doing like riding his motorcycle across people's yards or something like that, doing lawn jobs or something, whatever, and ran across some spike strips that somebody put out there because it was the second time that he had done it, and he got some flat tires, and they went out and caught him, and they called the police.
Sounds like you guys chuckled about that pretty.
I mean, it is what it is. Ricky's not the brightest guy.
Mm-hmm. But you like him.
Yeah, he's Ricky.
Mm-hmm. How about other friends?
Well, there's a friend of mine named John. He's a good guy.
Oh, I think we already talked about John.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you asking for like all of my friends?
Yeah. Do you have any other good friends?
Okay. There's Jeff. There's John. There's Ricky, and there's Ryan. He's a really good friend of mine as well.
Okay. Tell me about Ryan.
Well, I think Ryan would be, most people would consider him to be like a Olympic class scumbag.
Mark, it sounds like you have about 4 good friends, right? John, Jeff, Ricky, and Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really all involved in some criminal behavior. And it doesn't sound like you have any friends that aren't.
Mm.
And then you are participating in this motorcycle club.
Sober Motors.
And there are like 40 or 50 people involved with this club?
Oh, at least, yeah.
Tell me about the 20 or 30 people who, aren't involved in crime. Or are they?
No, I don't think so. No, we've got quite a few folks that have never had any type of run-in with the law. I'd say easily 15, 20 of them. Like I said, we're not running background checks on folks, but that stuff comes up in conversation, and we all kind of know each other, and everyone knows where each other's at, especially in the recovery. And those folks that have never had the run-ins or not, they'll say, "Hey, I don't know, what you've experienced before as far as getting arrested or something like that," but they can still appreciate that we've shared that information.
Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about alcohol and drugs.
Okay.
So tell me about your experience with substances over the last year.
I'm clean and sober. That's one of the requirements for the club is we're not using alcohol or drugs. I've been clean and sober for a year and 4 months now, actually.
Well, I know that in the past that you've had some pretty significant issues around alcohol, and it's been pretty significant issues around drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't used in the last year any alcohol or drugs. That's incredible.
Yeah, the only thing that is really kind of a problem for me is I got a little bit of liver issues going on because I drank pretty heavily back in the day. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Mark, it sounds like you've been interacting pretty regularly with people from your old club. What do you tell yourself that makes it okay to hang around these folks when they're, getting in trouble?
I don't see a problem with that at all. Their business is their business. It's none of my business. It's not like I'm out there doing that too. They do what they do, but it's not my place to judge them.
Yeah. So when they're out doing crime, doing drugs, drinking,
well, those are allegations.
When that's happening, you don't necessarily have a problem with it. You just don't do it, and you're fine with other people doing that stuff.
Yeah, I got my own thing now. It helps me. I'm staying clean and sober. I've been on post prison for a minute now, and I feel like I haven't got any violations. Doesn't mean that. I still can't hang out with some old friends, and I don't see a big problem with it.
Now, we've known each other now for a little over a year since you've been on supervision. What are your thoughts about being on supervision?
You know, it's fine. It's fine. It's better than being in the joint, I can tell you that. I don't want to be in prison. So I can come out here and, I'm all about being sober now, so and the people in the club are too, so I'm fine with that.
Okay. So how do you think you're doing on probation?
Well, I haven't had any violations. So I think I'm doing pretty good. If I had violations, then I would imagine it'd be pretty poor. So you can answer that question.
So looking back now, what do you think of your sentence?
I told you this last time. It's bullshit. It was absolute bullshit.
I don't understand.
What do you mean you don't understand? I went over there and I had some business to take care of, and I went and took care of my business. And they ratted me out. They snitched to the cop. They're cop callers.
So calling cops isn't okay with you?
No, absolutely not. I went to prison.
You went to prison to not call the cops?
They're the ones who called the cops on me, and I went to prison because of it. They could have just taken what they had coming to them, and that would have been fine. That would have been just fine. They had to call the cops.
So, since you've been on supervision, you've had some expectations around treatment programs, right?
I've had what?
You've had some expectations from me about participating in treatment.
Yeah, you told me to go.
So tell me about your experience with treatment. How did it go for you?
I thought it was fine. It helped me get sober, and I think that was probably one of the major motivating factors behind me starting up the club. So yeah, it was fine. In fact, my counselor he's in the club too. So I thought it was a great experience.
Mark, when you think about your life when you're off of supervision, what role do you think that motorcycle club's going to play for you in your life? The one that has some of the people from your past.
I'm on post-prison supervision right now, and you're the boss, but when you're out of my life, then I'm my own man, and I'm going to make my own decisions. So if I want to go hang out with those guys, then I'll go hang out with those guys. I know that I'm not really supposed to be associating with them right now, but you're not going to be there forever.
So really you plan to return at some point?
Well, I think what happens after post-prison supervision is over is really not much of your business.
Okay. Now I know that you've been in treatment and you've done well, right? What kind of assessments did you get when you were in treatment? Did anybody give you any diagnoses?
What do you mean?
Like, did you meet with a doctor and a doctor told you that you had a condition of some type?
No. Mm-mm.
Nobody ever assessed you for any particular disorder?
Like, am I crazy or am I a wacko or something like that?
Yeah, talk to you about mental health stuff?
No.
Okay. How are things financially for you?
I have a full-time job. I don't have very many bills. I live at home. I'm doing pretty well. I've got money in the bank right now. I put money aside every month, and things look good.
Okay. And then finally, how many times have you moved in the last year?
I just moved in with Mom. That was it. That's all I've really done. I don't plan on going anywhere.